The morning sun cast a golden glow over Tolu's modest home, its rays reflecting off the vibrant patterns of her African attire. Tolu, hands trembling slightly as she opened a letter that had just arrived. Her heart pounded with anticipation. As she read the first few lines, her eyes widened in disbelief. It was an admission letter, confirming her acceptance and a full scholarship to study in Canada. A broad smile spread across her face, tears of joy welling up in her eyes. Without a moment's hesitation, Tolu rushed into the living room where her family was gathered. "Mum, Dad, everyone, I got in! I got the scholarship!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement and pride. Her mother, a strong and nurturing figure, enveloped Tolu in a warm embrace. "Oh, Tolu, we're so proud of you," she said, her voice choked with emotion. Her father, a man of few words, placed a hand on her shoulder, his eyes shining with pride. "You've worked so hard for this, my dear. We're behind you all the way." Tolu's younger brother and sister jumped up and down with joy, their laughter filling the room. "You're going to Canada? This is amazing." They cheered. The family gathered around Tolu, their faces beaming with happiness and love. They celebrated together, each one expressing their support and excitement for Tolu's new journey. In that moment, surrounded by her family's love and encouragement, Tolu felt a sense of fulfillment and hope for the future. This was the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one filled with endless possibilities. Tolu's family escorted her to the bustling Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos, Nigeria. The terminal buzzed with the sounds of announcements, hurried footsteps, and the hum of conversations. Tolu clutched her boarding pass, her heart a whirlwind of emotions as she prepared to leave her homeland for the first time. Her mother, holding back tears, adjusted Tolu's scarf, a gesture filled with tenderness. "Remember, my dear, we are always with you no matter where you go," she whispered, her voice breaking. Tolu's father, his eyes moist with pride, handed her a small, worn-out Bible. "This has guided me through my toughest times. Let it be your strength," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Her younger siblings, trying to be brave, hugged her tightly. "We will miss you, Tolu. Call us every day," they pleaded, their voices a mix of sadness and excitement for her. Taking a deep breath, Tolu stepped back and looked at her family, her eyes glistening with tears. "I promise I'll make you all proud," she said, her voice trembling with determination. As the final boarding call echoed through the terminal, Tolu gave one last wave, her heart aching with the bittersweetness of goodbye. She turned and walked towards the gate, every step taking her closer to her dreams and further from the life she had known. Boarding the plane, Tolu settled into her seat, the hum of the engines a comforting reminder of the journey ahead. She looked out the window, Lagos disappearing beneath the clouds, and felt a mix of excitement and nervousness for the new adventure awaiting her in Canada. With a hopeful smile, she whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." Tolu arrives in Canada, stepping out of the airport with a sense of wonder and anticipation. The crisp air and the unfamiliar landscape of the Toronto skyline greet her, a stark contrast to the bustling streets of Lagos. She takes a deep breath, her lungs filling with the fresh, cool air, and her mind races with thoughts of the new experiences awaiting her. The airport is a hive of activity, with travelers from all walks of life hurrying to their destinations. Tolu stands still for a moment, absorbing the sights and sounds, feeling both small and incredibly alive in this vast new world. Her suitcase, filled with memories of home, feels heavier than ever, but her heart is light with the promise of what lies ahead. Navigating through the airport, Tolu spots a welcoming committee from her new university, holding a sign with her name. She approaches them, her steps a mix of caution and excitement. "Welcome to Canada, Tolu." They greet her warmly, their smiles easing some of her anxiety. As she steps outside, the sun peeks through the clouds, casting a golden hue over the city. The streets are lined with unfamiliar shops and cafes, and the distant sound of streetcars adds to the symphony of her new environment. Tolu's eyes widen with curiosity, her mind buzzing with the endless possibilities that this new chapter holds. With a determined smile, she whispers to herself, "This is where my journey begins." She knows that every step she takes from here on will be a step towards her dreams, her family's hopes, and her own future. And with that thought, she moves forward, ready to embrace every challenge and opportunity that comes her way. Tolu adjusted her glasses, her fingers tracing the worn cover of her biology textbook. The air in the classroom buzzed with the quiet murmur of students preparing for the afternoon lesson. Sunlight streamed through the open windows, casting dancing patterns on the faded walls. As Tolu opened her book, a folded piece of paper slipped out, landing on the desk with a soft thud. Curiosity piqued. She unfolded the paper, her heart quickening as she recognized it was a letter. The words swam before her eyes, filled with longing and admiration. It was a love letter meant for her. Tolu's cheeks flushed, a warmth spreading through her as she reread the heartfelt words. Who could have written it? She scanned the classroom, her eyes darting from one student to another. Could it be one of the girls sharing a secret crush? But the neat handwriting seemed too masculine. Tolu thought of the boys in her class, her mind flitting between faces. There was Kunle, the star footballer, always surrounded by a gaggle of admirers. He was handsome and popular, but Tolu had never spoken to him directly. Then there was Emeka, the quiet boy who sat in the corner, always engrossed in a book. He was intelligent and observant, often stealing glances at Tolu during class. The letter was unsigned, leaving Tolu with a delicious mystery to unravel. A wave of excitement washed over her, mixed with trepidation. Could this be the start of something special? For the first time, Tolu allowed herself to dream of romance, her heart filled with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. Tolu was a girl who lived in the quiet corners of observation. She preferred the company of books to the boisterous chatter of her classmates. Her uniform, always crisply ironed, reflected her tidy nature. She found solace in the orderliness of her routines, her life a predictable rhythm of school, homework, and family time. Tolu's world was her small family compound, nestled in the heart of Ikena. Her days were filled with the comforting aroma of her mother's cooking, the rhythmic pounding of her brother's mortar and pestle as he helped their mother prepare fufu, and the gentle chiding of her grandmother, her voice a soothing melody in their home. Life was simple, predictable. Then came the letter, a disruptive force in Tolu's well-ordered existence. Suddenly her quiet world was infused with a thrilling possibility. The letter, with its heartfelt words, awakened a dormant part of her, a longing for connection and affection. It was as if a single ray of sunlight had pierced through the clouds, illuminating her world with a new and vibrant hue. The letter became her secret talisman, tucked away safely in her school bag. She reread it in stolen moments, her heart skipping a beat each time. The words whispered of admiration for her intelligence and kindness, qualities she often hid behind her shyness. For the first time, Tolu began to see herself through someone else's eyes, and she realized that she was worthy of love and attention. Kunle was the epitome of charm and athleticism. He moved with an easy grace, his laughter echoing across the schoolyard. A natural leader, his classmates gravitated towards him, drawn to his charisma and confidence. His smile, bright and infectious, could light up a room. Kunle excelled in all things physical, his prowess on the football field legendary. He was the golden boy, destined for greatness. Emeka, in stark contrast, was an introvert, his world confined to the pages of his books. He observed the world from behind thick-rimmed glasses, his mind a treasure trove of knowledge. While Kunle shone on the football field, Emeka excelled in the classroom, his intelligence earning him both admiration and envy from his peers. He was content in his solitude, his thoughts his constant companions. Tolu observed them both, her heart torn between the allure of Kunle's popularity and the quiet appeal of Emeka's intellect. Could the letter have come from Kunle, a secret message hidden beneath his confident facade? Or was it Emeka? His words a reflection of the silent understanding they shared in the classroom. The mystery of the sender consumed her thoughts, adding a layer of intrigue to her daily routine. She found herself stealing glances at both boys, her heart pounding in her chest whenever their eyes met. The letter had awakened a longing within her, a desire to connect with someone who saw beyond her shyness, who appreciated her gentle spirit. The news of the love letter spread through the school like wildfire. Whispers followed Tolu down the hallways, her classmates exchanging knowing glances. Speculation ran rampant, fueled by a mixture of envy and curiosity. Who was the secret admirer who had penned such heartfelt words? Tolu found herself the reluctant center of attention, her classmates bombarding her with questions. She retreated further into herself, her shyness amplified by the scrutiny. The letter, once a source of excitement, now felt like a burden, a secret she desperately wanted to protect. The weight of the mystery pressed down on her. She tried to focus on her studies, to lose herself in the familiar comfort of her textbooks. but the words on the page blurred together, her mind a whirlwind of possibilities. Who was the author of her hidden feelings? The more Tolu thought about it, the more convinced she became that it must be Emeka. Kunle was too popular, too sure of himself to write such a heartfelt letter. Emeka, on the other hand, understood the language of unspoken emotions, his quiet nature hiding a depth of feeling. Fate, it seemed, had a plan. One afternoon, as Tolu was leaving the library, her arms laden with books, she stumbled, her precious volumes tumbling to the ground. A pair of hands reached down to help her, and she looked up to see Emeka, his eyes filled with concern. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice soft and reassuring. Tolu felt her cheeks flush as she mumbled her thanks. Emeka gathered the scattered books, his fingers brushing against hers. For a moment their eyes met, and Tolu felt a spark of connection, a shared understanding that transcended words. From that day forward, Tolu and Emeka began to spend more time together. They would often meet at the library, their shared love of books a natural bond between them. Tolu found herself drawn to Emeka's quiet intelligence, his ability to make her laugh with a simple observation or a shared joke. He listened patiently as she confided her anxieties about the letter, offering words of comfort and encouragement. As they spent more time together, Tolu began to see a different side to Emeka. He was no longer just the quiet boy who sat in the corner. He was witty, insightful, and surprisingly romantic. He would often surprise her with small gestures of kindness, a single hibiscus flower tucked into her textbook, a poem copied out in his neat handwriting.